In the last class, we were discussing about the animations. How can you create animations using dynamic styles? And today we are going to discuss about the JavaScript event handling. This is another important topic, and that is the second part of our module 4. First, we need to discuss about what may be these events. We all know that what are events. Events are the interventions from the user. That means a click on a button, then mouse move, any interactions or any interventions are the events. The JavaScript events which allow scripts to respond to user interactions. These user interactions may be typing of keyboards, then clicking of mouse buttons like that. So it will modify the page accordingly. Events allow scripts to respond to a user who is moving the mouse, then entering form data, pressing keys, and much more. Events and event handling help make web applications more dynamic and interactive. By using this event handling, the pages are become very interactive with the user. HTML events are things that happen to HTML elements. When JavaScript is used in HTML pages, this JavaScript can react on these events. That is, we can call appropriate functions when an event gets fired. An HTML event can be something the browser does or something a user does. Some examples of HTML events are an HTML web page has finished loading, that is our load event. An HTML input field was changed on change event. Then an HTML button was clicked, click event, like that. All these are the examples, some of the examples of HTML events. HTML allows event handler attributes with JavaScript code to be added to HTML elements. For example, the HTML event equal to some JavaScript function. That means if that particular event happened, then this particular function will get called. In this example, button on click equal to display date. That means while clicking on this button, the JavaScript function display date will get executed. Hope it is clear. Here some of the HTML events. On change, this is one of the events. Upon on change, an HTML element has been changed, this particular event will get fired. When an HTML event has been changed, this particular event will get fired. On click, it will get fired when the user clicks an HTML element. On mouse over, this is for the user moves the mouse over an HTML element. On mouse out, the user moves the mouse away from an HTML element. On key down, the user pushes a keyboard key. On load, the browser has finished loading the page. Hope it is clear. First, we need to discuss about the load event. This event fires when the window finishes the loading successfully. Every DOM element has a load event, but it's most commonly used in the window event, window load. That is, while we load a particular browser page, this event will get fired. Hope it is clear. So we will look into the program of this particular load event. Here we have one HTML, that is load.html. We have a HTML tag, then head tag. Head tag contains lots and lots of subtags. Here is a relation, that is a style sheet. We are adding style2.css into our HTML page, and we are calling one JavaScript file, that is load.js. And inside the body we have a paragraph. Inside that we have typed seconds you have spent viewing this page so far. Then there is a span, its ID is so far, and it was by default it was 0 as the content of this particular span element. Then inside the load.js, what we do is we are declaring a variable seconds as 0. Then we are defining a function start timer. Inside the function we are calling set interval function. We all know that what is the set interval function. Set interval function will execute another function in a particular interval. Here the interval is 1000 milliseconds. That is 1 second. So each and every second we will be calling this update function using set interval function. Then another function, that is update time. In update time, what we do is we will be incrementing the seconds variable by 1, and we will be setting the inner HTML of so far span element. Here this so far is what document.get element by ID of so far will return this ID, the reference of this span. So far is the ID of this span, so that particular function, that means this document.get element by ID of so far will return the reference of that element, and we are putting the inner HTML as the seconds. So in every second what we do is we will be updating the seconds variable. Then the next thing is we need to execute this function start timer. That's where our interest is. Here we are accessing what? The load event of our window. How can you access? Window.add event listener, that we already discussed about this thing. Add event listener function, that is for what? Registering an event. Here we are registering an event load with start timer. That means while the window is loading, while the loading is finished, this particular function will get called start timer. Hope it is clear. When this start timer is executed, then by using set interval, we will be executing this update timer in every seconds, and in every seconds we will be updating the inner HTML, means the content of what? That particular span element. So what may be the expected output? Upon clicking this, first it will be set with 0, then for each and every seconds it will get incremented with 1. So we will be getting the seconds we have spent in viewing this page. Hope it is clear. So this is for what? This is for loading a particular page. The load event will get fired. The load event will get fired when the loading of the window is finished. Hope it is clear. In style2.css, we will be adding styles for this span as font weight bold. That's why the font is bold in this span. Hope it is clear. Okay, then we can move on to another event, that is event mouse move. What may be that mouse move event? From the event name itself we can understand that this event will get fired when we move our mouse over our window. Hope it is clear. Again we need to discuss another thing, that is event object. This is another important object which is present inside this JavaScript. Event object, we need to discuss about that thing. Okay, so mouse move event, which occurs whenever the user moves the mouse over the web page. Whenever the user moves his mouse over the web page, the mouse move event will get fired. Now we need to discuss about what may be this event object. Here this event object, it is an object which contains all the information about the event that occurred. So when the browser calls an event handling function, it passes an event object to the function. So we'll be discussing about that thing, how that particular event object is getting passed to an event handling function. We will be discussing that by using a program. Then that particular function parameter is commonly named as E. Commonly the name of that event object will be E. We will be looking into that. Okay, the event object has got some properties. Each and every object has got some properties. This event object has got these much properties. The first property is Alt key. This property will be true if we press Alt key in our keyboard. In the keyboard we can see Alt key, Control keys, then alphabet keys, like that, Shift keys, like that. So upon clicking this Alt key, the Alt key property of the object, event object will become true. Then there is another property, that is cancel bubble. What is this bubble? We will be discussing that later. Cancel bubble set to true to prevent event from bubbling. There is a concept called event bubbling. We will be discussing that terminology later. By default it will be false. Then client X and client Y, these are the coordinates of the mouse cursor inside the client area. This client area means the active area where the web page is getting displayed. That is excluding the scroll bars, then navigation buttons of the browser. Now there is another property, that is control key, CTRL key. This value will be true if the control key was pressed when an event fired. There is another property, that is key code. This key code means the ASCII code of the key pressed inside an keyboard event. So when a keyboard event happens, we can get which key is pressed, like that, by using this keyboard property. Then again screen X and screen Y, these are the coordinates of the mouse cursor on the screen coordinate system. We all know that the screen coordinate system starts from the top left corner, it will be 0, then it will be added towards bottom right corner, like that. Then the target, there is another property called target, the DOM object that received the event. The object which received that particular event. Then type, there is another property called type. From the type we can get the name of the event that fired. Hope it is clear. These are the properties which are present inside the event object. Hope it is clear. Now we will be looking into the code. Here there is one HTML called draw.html. Again we will be having some HTML tag. Okay, before that, the first statement is not doc type HTML. We all know that this particular statement is for what? For representing the HTML5 document. Hope it is clear. Then HTML tag is there, then head tag is there, inside that some subtags. There is a script, that is draw.js, and the style sheet style3.css. Then inside the body we are inserting a table, its ID is canvas. Then there is a caption for this table, hold control for control to draw blue. For drawing blue dots we need to hold control. So while holding this control we can easily get which key is already pressed by using the property of the event object. Again for holding shift to draw a red. So from this code we can understand that upon clicking control we can draw some blue things. Upon clicking shift we can draw some red colors, like that. Then inside this table there is a body and its ID is table body. So here we just created a table. We didn't create any rows and columns, like that. Hope it is clear. So here we are calling one JavaScript file, that is draw.js. In draw.js, upon loading we are we are calling a function called create canvas. We already discussed about this thing, loading event. When this particular loading event is happening after finishing the loading of the browser. We are actually calling this draw.html. Once this draw.html's loading activity is finished, then this particular function will get called, that is create canvas function. Okay, now we need to discuss about what may be this create canvas function. Inside that HTML file, we created one table, its ID is canvas, and we created one table body and its ID is table body. We didn't create any TR or TD, that is table row and table data. And this in this function, that is in create canvas, we are creating what? The rows and columns for this particular table. Here we are initializing one variable side 100, then we are getting the table body element. This table body is what? Inside that HTML page, we created one table body. Inside this table body, we are keep on adding table rows and table data. Then here the side is 100. Then for here we are using one for loop for creating TR. How many TRs may be created? 100 TRs. So first we create one TR. Inside one TR, we will be creating 100 TDs. So this particular function, that is create canvas, is for creating 100 rows. In each and every rows, we will be creating 100 data, means 100 columns. So 100 TRs. For every TRs, we will be creating 100 TDs and we will be appending each TD into this table body. So first we will be creating one row, then we will be adding that row into the table body, like that. So after finishing the execution of this particular function, we will be having a table with 100 rows, and for in each and every rows, we will be having 100 columns. So a table with 100 rows and 100 columns. That is the output of which function? This create canvas function. Hope it is clear. Okay. Then what we do is, after executing that particular function, here this is our interest. We will be getting the reference of that canvas. Here we know what is this canvas. Canvas is what? Our table element. We will be getting the reference of that table element, and we are registering an event mouse move. That is our interest. Mouse move. Here you see all the letters are small letters. That is the event. We need to specify this event. This is the syntax of mouse move. You can't use capital M or something like that. You should use this thing. This is the mouse move event. And we are registering, or we are mapping this mouse move event with which function? Process mouse move. Process mouse move. Hope it is clear. And here now we need to discuss about this process mouse move function. We already discussed about this thing. While you trigger a particular event, an event object will get also passed to this particular function. And we also discussed its name would be E. So this process mouse move has got an event object. From this event object, we will be getting all the information needed about this particular event mouse move. That is its beauty. That is, we will be getting all the information about this event. For example, if you want to get which is the target of this particular event, we will be getting that e.target.tag name. That is what is the target of that particular event. We will be getting that. So if e.target.tag name dot to lowercase means what may be the target of that particular tag name. That is, some user may be creating this TD with capital letter or T is capital letter. You can create a table column or table data with any characters, that is TD. Capital T, small d is okay, small t, capital D is okay, like that. So we need to normalize that. So for that we are using two lowercase in order to get that particular condition true. So two lowercase means we will be changing all those typos into TD. So if the target is TD and if E.CTRL key means the control key is pressed, we are making E.target.set attribute class blue. Here we are setting the attribute of this TD as blue, and if shift key is pressed, E.shift key, that is the main importance of that particular event object. From the event object we can understand which key is pressed. We can also get the mouse pointer coordinates, like that. Hope it is clear. So if shift key is pressed, we are setting the attribute as red. Here what may be this class? Class may be some style. That is the class attribute. That is the style. Hope it is clear. So in the style page, in CSS page, we are defining two classes, blue and red. Here in blue class, we will be changing the background of the TD as blue. Then another background, if it is red, the background color is changed as red. So if you click the control key, we will be getting the blue color, and if we press shift key, we will be getting the red color. Hope it is clear. So upon executing this particular function, you will be getting like this. Okay. This is our canvas. Here inside this we will be having 100 rows and 100 columns. Then if you mouse over, nothing will happen. But if we press the control key, 1 minute. Okay. If you press the control key, you will be getting the blue color. That is, now the control key is pressed. Now the control key is pressed. If we press shift key, we will be getting the red color. Hope it is clear. The red color. We will be getting the red color. Hope it is clear. Okay. We will be getting the red color. Okay. Okay. So while you inspect the code of this particular page, you can see that is right click, inspect in Chrome. You can see all the elements of this particular page. All the elements, that is, here there is a head, there is a body, inside the body, that is our interest. Inside the body you can see one table with ID canvas. This is our canvas. Then inside the table you can see one caption. This is our whole, this is our caption. Then after caption we are having one T body. Its ID is table body. Then upon clicking that, you can see these much TRs, that is 100 TRs you can see, and each and every, here you can see one row, that is from the left you can see one line, that is one row. Then for every row you can create one data, you can see like pixels, right? So we are changing the background color. That's why you can see this dots. All these dots are what? One TD. Here we are changing the background of that particular TD. You can see TD. That from the left you can see the TD. In each and every TD we are changing the background color. Hope it is clear. Okay.